What is happening, y'all? Cowboy here, and it is time to talk about the thickness. That is right, the Unga Bunga is finally here as we jump into a strength build in Elden Ring. Now, like all of the other Souls counterparts, strength still packs some of the beefiest punches, and what it lacks for in speed, it makes up for in its ability to just utterly crush pretty much whatever you're fighting. So we have a large variety of weapons that we're going to be talking about in this video, going over Ash's Vor, all that stuff. So let's jump in, and the first thing we're going to do is talk about the stats. Now, a lot of people keep asking, what's the starter class? What's the starter class? To be honest, an endgame build in this game, your starting class is going to be irrelevant. I happen to start with a Confessor because I wanted to do Faith early on. Whether you start this with a Confessor or a Sorcerer or a Champion or whatever the case is, you could hit these same stat thresholds with like a 5-level variance. So, if you started as a Sorcerer and decided you wanted to go Strength, you might hit this at like 155. Or if you started with a Champion and followed this, you'd probably hit it at like 145. So don't worry about the starting class, more worry about the general stat points we're going to target. So as always, I'm aiming for 150 on all of my builds. That feels like a comfortable level to get through just playing the game. I was at 150 before I was even done content, and I stopped leveling to stay there, and I was able to comfortably get through most of New Game Plus, with the exception of a couple bosses that were a struggle, but you're able to beat the content at 150, which feels good. So going into the points in particular, Vigor at least at 50, this is going to give us close to 1800 health. If you're leveling higher, dump more points in there. Mind we have at 21, which gives us a little bit of FP to get off summons as well as casts. Endurance up to 40 to make sure we are only at a medium load with all this hefty gear on. Strength to 66 because we get the 1.5 multiplier when we're two-handing our weapon, so 66 strength is the equivalent of 99 strength as soon as you two-hand. Dexterity we have all the way down to 12, that's just for weapon requirements. Intelligence is up to 16 for a weapon requirement on one of our weapons. Faith at 15 for a couple of the casts, which you see, and then Arcane is left at its base level. We don't need any points there. So we have quite a few weapons. We're going to be talking about them in general. Real fast, let's go over each weapon and point out the location. So our main daily driver is going to be the Ruins Greatsword. Ruins Greatsword comes from the dual boss fight that is in Redmane Castle. You can either do it before or after you Fightin Radahn, but that's where you get it. Moving on from there, we have the Heavy Greatsword plus 24. This comes from the caravan that is right at the entrance to Caelid. Just to show some of these locations real fast, the dual boss fight I'm talking about happens down here. The caravan in Caelid is like right around here. There's 2 dogs that are guarding it. Besides that, we also have the Heavy Greatstars. The Greatstars is going to be our one-handed option, and then the Prelate's Heavy Inferno Crozier is going to be our another two-handed option we have. Now the Greatstars, that is going to be all the way down in Deep Route Depths, which I do have it. So Deep Route Depths is over here. To reach Deep Route Depths, you have to take, where's it at? You have to be at Ancestral Woods and then follow this path around, and then you'll find like a coffin that brings you on over here. So you get that in that area. Prelate's Charge, I was trying to remember exactly where I found it, but there were 2 key areas I want to point out. One of them was the Hammer, and the other one was the Ash of War. So the first, right here, Guardian's Garrison. That is up in the snowy region, right by the White Ridge Road. And the other was over here in the volcano region by the dude right here before you cross the bridge. Now, I don't remember which was where. I'm still making all my notes myself, but, you Google enough, you'll find out where you get it. Moving on from there, though, Clawmark Seal, this comes from talking to Beastman. You're going to want a small shield. Doesn't matter what small shield, put Golden Parry on it. And then lastly, we have the Erdtree Great Shield and the Heavy Golden Great Shield. Now, the Golden Great Shield, that comes from going back to the starting area. You can take a Belfry Tower there. So, the 4 Belfries. Going on over... You go here, 4 Belfries. They're going to teleport you on over to this area. No, not that area. Where is it at? This area right here. And you can fight that thing that killed you right at the start of the game to get that Great Shield. The other one is going to come, I believe it's the guy that blocks your way into the capital. If it's not him, then it is the one that you got to fight on your way up to fighting Malekith. So either way, that's where you get the stuff. But let's jump on in and talk more about our weapons, what we're using and why. And first up, we have the Ruins Greatsword. Now this is one of the legendary weapons, very solid choice. The unique skill Wave of Destruction gives us a nice AoE clear, which is great when we get grouped up by enemies. Sheet AR 926, keep in mind that is split with physical and magic, but all around a solid weapon. We're looking at S scaling strength. We have a very beefy weapon art on this. Just slam it out. it's going to go quite a way. Very similar to Blasphemous Blade, not quite as long. It doesn't heal you, but it still gives us a very nice clear that we can use in all of the PvE content. Really easy to dodge in PvP though. In general, this thing has the same moveset as the other greatsword we have, so some pretty nice swings. Probably the only real difference there is our charge attack is going to be a beefy overhead that will do that. I like this weapon a lot. If you're not interested in that, you don't need to worry about investing the 16 points into intelligence, but I feel that this is a really solid choice for clearing PvE content in the game. Now, beyond that, we have a couple of standard weapons that we can change around the Ash of War on. In particular, we're going with the Prelate's Inferno Crozier, and then the Greatsword. Now, in terms of raw AR, if you were to scale up all your colossal weapons, this comes in at the number 2 slot, this comes in at the number 4 slot. The number 1 was the Giant Crusher Hammer, but to be honest, it's kind of short, and I don't really like its heavy charge attack. And the 4th was the Gargoyle's Halberd, which its moveset just isn't very good. For some reason, there's no sound at all when you do its heavy attack. It's just like a quiet swipe, and it's really weird. But these two weapons, in terms of moveset, reach, everything, they are superior choices, even if they are slightly weaker. And when I say slightly, I'm talking like, we're looking at like a 17 AR difference. They are all very close to each other. So let me just put both on. We can talk about the movesets of each of these. So the hammer in general, really solid. The heavy charge, very big upswing, which is great for sniping dragons. You can see the height on that. So that's really solid, and on top of that, because this is strike, it's very easy to blow our way through enemies. As for our Ash of War, we have Golden Lamb. That's going to do a 3-hit combo and then summon up these little things that are going to shoot out and target the enemy. This does a lot of stagger. This stagger, it's enough stagger that you can stagger a Crucible Knight with this thing. So it's pretty beefy. Moving on from there, we have the Greatsword. Now the Greatsword, this is our main go-to PvP weapon. This thing has an absolutely insane reach. As you can see, it's even longer than the hammer. Some really nice stuff on this. The rolling attack has a poke. We can do the crouch poke, which is a good way to roll catch people. And then for the art on this, I actually like Hoarfrost Stomp as a good go-to on PvP. If people, this is slower, so people are going to try and roll in. You do that, and then after they've rolled in, you can go in and start attacking them. It's just a solid choice all around. You can't go wrong with the Berserk Sword. Moving on from those two, though, and up till now, you'll see we've had a small shield on. I like Golden Parry on the small shields, just because that's going to increase the range that you can get a parry. You get a parry, and the follow-up from this, or this, or this, it's going to instant kill somebody almost. It's going to do like 1200 damage. But if you're more of a defensive strength fan, we also got the setup for you, and that is going to be with the heavy Great Stars, and with either the Golden Great Shield or the Erdtree Great Shield. Now, the heavy Great Stars in particular, this is, in my opinion, the best one-handed heavy strength weapon in the game. We're going to get ace scaling on it. We have blood loss buildup at 55, and this thing will restore HP on attacks, which is absolutely goofy if we combo it with the Prelate's Charge skill. Like I was saying earlier, where it was either Volcano or Guardian's Garrison, one of those has the Prelate's Charge skill, the other one has the Prelate's Inferno Crozier. I don't remember which was where, so forgive me on that, but I promise it's all out there and you can find it. And we're going to show that in a bit because that's nutty. Now going down here, as for these two Great Shields, the reason we're going for the Golden Great Shield is because this has Barricade on it. And Barricade is insane. So already Great Shields are good, but you go Barricade and it's like a Great Shield. So it will mitigate anything that is coming your way. The reason that we also go with the Erdtree Great Shield is this has Golden Retaliation on it. Now, if you ever tried casting a spell on the Tree Sentinel at the start, you're obviously familiar with what we're talking about, but you just hit that button and it's instantaneous like a parry, and this will parry spells that have been shot at you and fire back a golden bolt. And that bolt chunks. We're talking like 800 damage on that bolt. I've seen it kill people in PvP. It's absurd. So this is kind of our if we're struggling and you want to beef up, this is what I'd recommend. You have this Great Shield to block, and you got this hammer, which is really fast. As you can see, this is the same swing moveset that like a Claymore would have, except this is going to have strike damage, and so it's going to be really good at shattering through shields. It has the bleed, it has the heal on hit. All in all, honestly, it's just a fantastic weapon. Now, I also want to point out that Greatsword and the Prelate's Inferno Crozier are both at plus 24. Right now, there is actually a bug, and upgrading these to plus 25 while they are heavy will make the damage go down. I've already sent this on over to the people I know at Bamco, and they've sent it to FromSoft. Hopefully that gets patched, but for now, when you're upgrading your weapon, just check. If it looks like the damage is going to go down when you hit plus 25, don't upgrade it all the way, and wait until that has been patched. The last thing to point out, of course, we have our Claw Mark Seal. This is all the Beast stuff quest, and this is great. I mean, we have 213 in Can't Scaling because we get B Strength, B Faith, so we're really getting a lot from that 66 Strength, and this just gives us access to a couple of spells that are going to be really quick and easy to throw out, mainly for PvP, but also for PvE. So Bestial Sling, this is really good. You can just toss that out for some quick damage. You can do it while jumping. You can do it out of a roll. You can do it out of attack. And it's a good chase down tool. It's a good interrupt tool. It helps to kind of control the flow. Stone of Garrock, it's literally just a big rock. Throw it. This gives us a decent ranged option to hit stuff with. Beast Claw needs no introduction. It's awesome. You can hold it and charge it down to toss it out even longer. And then, of course, we have Garrock's Beast Claw, which we can slam the ground with that. That gives us an AoE option. And then Bestial Vitality, which is going to be a slow heal over time. Now, the reason we're using all of these spells, and you're like, bro, it's a strength build. Look at 10 faith, 13 faith, 8, 15, 12. And all of these we can use with the scaling that we get from strength. So this gives you it gives you some nice variety with strength. And literally all of this stuff just comes from finding death roots in the world and giving them the Beastman. Now, if you have more memory slots, you could also slap on Magic Fortification or Flame Fortification just to make yourself a little bit tankier. These are also very cheap spells. But beyond this, to get other things, we're starting to get into the territory of like 20 plus faith, and I didn't want to go that high with this build. As for the armor choice, I like the Beast Champion armor, but comboed with the Veteran's Helm. I think that these go really well together. I think it's just a really nice fashion. Whereas compared to the Beast Champion Helm, nah, not fun. And going with the Veteran's Helm and maybe the Veteran's Armor, you know, it's too big. That's too big of a cloak. It makes us look kind of like an overly thick boy. I don't like it. The Beast Champion armor, though, this looks regal as hell, man. We look like that knight that's going to roll down and smack you in the face. So moving on into other things. Erdtree's Favor +2. You get this after the capital's been turned to ash. Green Turtle Talisman. Daddy loves his stamina. Great Jar's Arsenal, of course, for that carry weight. And then the last slot, this is kind of a flex slot, but honestly, Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman is pretty thick. As you can see, that's a pretty damn nice mitigation increase, and considering we're playing with strength build and we're gonna end up taking hits, all in all, it's not a bad choice. But you could definitely flex this. You know, you could go for guard counters if you're doing very heavy Great Shield play. You could go for charge attacks, which is obviously great. You could go for jump attacks, horseback attacks, you know, whatever you want in this final slot. But if you're not sure, Dragon Crest Great Shield is going to be a great go-to choice. So we're going to go murder some content, but before we do, I just need to show y'all this because it is absolutely hilarious. Now, I mentioned how we get a heal on hit with our Great Stars. Well, if you combine heal on hit with something that is going to do a bunch of hits, like the Prelate's Charge, you get some goofy looking mechanics. Just watch this. We'll let these dudes beat on us for a bit here. This is, of course, New Game Plus, by the way. All of the damage we're taking, all the damage we're doing, this is all New Game Plus. So you can see we're already pretty tanky. Like, usually you'd be dead doing that. So, what do we do here? We murder! Look at the heals! Boom! How freaking cool is that? And to do that, all you gotta do is you just hold L2 down. And then when you let go of L2, boom, you get a free big knockup. So honestly, I know most of y'all are like, you know, what's the best colossal weapon? Bro, this thing claps. This thing is dirty. And the shield, so you got a barricade and then you got a block. Look at that. Look at our stamina. Come on, hit me. Look at the stamina. Look at it. Our stamina's not even moving, bro. We're the ultimate of tanks. Look at that shield break. That's why you use a strike weapon. You're not going to get that shield break using a claymore or anything. Like, honestly, I know y'all probably came to the video like, let me see the colossal swords, cowboy. But this is the good shit. You just bop the shit out of everybody. I love it. Split here, 10-4, 12-2, whatever you're comfortable with. I have it set up because I like having a little bit extra in PvP. But let's go do some fights. So I hope this guy's still alive. I was talking about how the hammer can actually stagger the Crucible Knight. I'm about to show you all that. ever seen a Crucible Knight just get beat and bodied like this? You see how far back we were when we got that parry? That's why golden parry is so good. Who's bullying this man? Bonk. Next, we're going to go through Ray Lucari a little bit, show you off the juiciness of those spell parries, as well as just how potent the Great Shield and Great Stars are when grouped together. So these are just little casts, right? Look at that! Look at that damage! Like, even on just normal hits, we're actually getting pretty well. Like, you know how much more comfortable this makes me playing a strength build when I can just parry stuff out like that and not even care? Here we got a whole caravan of dudes. Get them all. Gather them all up. We're just murder spreeing everything we fight. Next, we got Round Table Vike up in the snowy region. This is actually a pretty hard matchup, I think, just because spears in general can do a lot of, they can give you a lot of problems because they can outrange you and they can poke. So definitely one of the less than ideal matchups, at least in PvP. I know this isn't exactly PvP, but best bet here is to just get off the parry. Feel a little bad. You gotta spam your parry a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. If you get the knockup, try and hit him with the follow-up heavy. Look at that, the quick bestial sling. That's what I like about bestial sling, because, you know, someone gets that low, you know, the great sword, this is too slow. Somebody they'll just ride around and run around and run around, but just boom, nice and fast. Now we're gonna try and get some PvP going. I don't have the highest of hopes. See, the thing is, great swords are really slow in PvP, so probably the biggest thing is gonna be the crouch roll catch. Did that extensively the other night on stream after Dragon had explained it to me. Oh, he's fighting this thing? Oh, this guy's dead. This guy's dead. He's super dead. Someone already died? Oh, no. Poor guy. He's got the wheel, too. One jump attack like that, and he's dead. Here we go. Let's get him. Let's get him. Come on. That little moan. Run up, crouch and poke. No one expects the crouch and poke. It's a really good attack. Thank you, Dropout Dragon, PvP Master, for teaching me this good stuff. And that's where we toss out the frostbite. I can stomp too, except my stomps are going to cause frostbite and hurt you more. Oh, they're dead. I've been trying for about 30 minutes and I've found 2 invasions, but the more I do these build videos, the more we're going to be finding people, you know. More people are leveling up. We're starting to get people in the invasion range where I can fight them. Still not a ton, but there are some. Oh man, this is gonna hurt. Oh! Dead. So dead. So dead. Oh no. Watch this. And then once again, crouch poke. Oh man, crouch poke. This is where this comes in. Look at him. Look at him dodge it. Look at all the dodges. Rock. Oh, I was going for the beast ball. Yeah, that was fun. So if y'all want more PvP, I would suggest just checking out the live stream we did. It's called like Build Crafting at PvP. We use this for a bunch, but I'm just not finding anybody right now. So anyway, before we wrap up, the last thing I want to talk about are some other alternate weapons and some other alternate Ashes of War that I would consider for this. So hopping on over into our weapon category, in particular looking at the greatswords, looking at these 3, you have Knight's Greatsword is the weakest, then Claymore, and then Banished Knight's Sword, with this one being the strongest. However, they also go in reach. So while this is the strongest, it has the shortest reach. This has the longest reach. So if you really want a greatsword, one of those is good. To be honest, I really think Great Stars is better than pretty much all of those. I mean, this just has the fact that it's strike versus standard and pierce is really, really nice. Plus the bleed, plus the heal. It's hard to beat that. As for some other colossal weapons, Grafted Blade Greatsword, unfortunately, just not very good. It has shorter range than a lot of the other ones. The scaling doesn't end up getting all that high. Royal Greatsword can be really good, but this is going to require a heftier stat investment. So if you're okay going up to 18 dex and 22 faith, this will work. But this is more of a strength int weapon, so you should be having a lot more in int if you're going to use this. Malekith's Blackblade, this is a really cool weapon, but the weapon art's kind of hard to get off. And then a lot of people like the Star Surge Greatswords. It's cool, but to be honest, you're never getting that weapon art off in PvP. And even in PvE most of the time. There's no poise on it, so it's very easy to get interrupted out of that, which unfortunately kind of makes it a little lackluster. Last thing I want to mention is, because we're playing with the Great Shield, you can use the Great Spears. So stuff like the Lance, stuff like the Vikes War Spear or the Sacred Spear, you know, you can poke from behind your Great Shield with this stuff and just, you know, turtle up and do damage. In particular, Great Shield with Frenzy Spear is pretty gross. Going on over to the Ashes of War, because I tried out a bunch, and the main reason I liked Hoarfrost is, like I said, it's a good catch. It's quick damage. If they're in it long enough for it to proc, you're going to see a burst of like 700 damage go out. Besides that, though, what's really popular for a lot of people, and I don't even see it on here, but you can get Quick Step. So let me point out Quick Step and where you get that from. So right here from Lena's Rise, there's a Black Knight you can fight at night. If you beat him, you get this thing that allows you to dash around. So if you see people greatsword dashing in PvP, that's where that comes from. It has its uses, but honestly, I don't know. I am not a huge fan of it. I know the hardcore PvP crowd is all about it, but it just doesn't get the job done for me. I'm ready to stand and trade, not try and dash around and get a backstab. Horlu's Earthshaker, this is really solid. It's unblockable, but once people know what it is, they're not going to let you come near them with it. So, food for thought on that. If you're going to use Sweep, I would suggest Sweep Uppercut. It's significantly stronger than Sweep Stamp. And besides that, that's the majority. There's not Troll's Roar. I don't even know where it's at. I should have it on this character, but maybe it's not with the Great Shield. Let me see. No, I don't know. There's another one. It's like Troll's Roar, but it's going to be a shout that you shoot out an air projectile. And I don't know why I don't have it, because I had it on the stream. But that one wasn't bad as a good catch. But all in all, I think Hoarfrost Stomp, Golden Land, and Prelate's Charge, specifically Prelate's Charge on Heavy Great Stars, are going to be your best go-to combinations. So either way, that's going to wrap this one on up. In terms of what to expect next, we did a community poll, and people voted on a Dex build. So we're going to be a fast Katana Boy or something like that in one of the upcoming episodes. And then from there, we'll probably just go down the poll list. I know a lot of people want to see like an intellect build or a split cast build. That's probably going to have to wait until I'm done the walkthrough prep, just because this guy's, my mule is near the end of the game, and with the capital already in Ash and certain quest lines, there's certain spells that I just can't get at this point. So a lot of my spell stuff is going to be limited. But either way, thanks for coming on by, checking out the build. If you have any questions, drop them down below. I will pin a comment, kind of like that answers the most common questions I see. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all next time.